Hey YouTube, today I'm doing a review of the Werebears, which is an old UK cuddly toy line from the 1980s. Actually was created in 1983, same year I was created, and it was by a guy called George Nichols, who came up with the idea because he wanted a kind of a boy's alternative to teddy bears that weren't considered so wimpy, kind of a boy's alternative to Care Bears in Werebears. And the original four are these four here. There's Grizzler, Fang, Gums and Howler. And at the minute, as you see, they're all Werebears, but they all turn into normal cuddly toys. You flip the head around like so. And you flip the paws around. And you have yourself a normal cuddly toy. Now they all pretty much look the same. They've all got the same face when they're in their normal teddy bear modes, except Fang here has a schoolboy's hat, as you can see there. And Gums has like a nightcap, sort of little bobble hat there. But in the Werebear modes, they all look quite unique. Grizzler and Howler are the closest to each other. That's these two guys. They've both got pretty much the same face, but as you can see, Howler's got little yellow trousers, Grizzler's got this kind of striped jumper. And they're both about the same size as well. Then there's Fang, who's a bit smaller and he's only got one tooth, and Gums, who's kind of stocky, a bit sort of stumpier than the others, and he hasn't got any teeth at all. And I always felt a bit sorry for Gums because he was the least popular of the toys in the 80s. He was the first one to get discontinued because kids didn't want to wear bear, didn't have any teeth, and I was the same. I didn't really like him that much either at the time. But I've kind of grown a fondness for him now because he's sort of the underdog of the team, you know. He hasn't got any teeth and he wasn't popular. I feel sorry for him, and I felt even more sorry for him now because the Werebears brand has been bought back. There's a new range of four Werebears, but Gums has been replaced with Growler. So I feel even more sorry for Gums now that he's been sort of completely discarded from the group. Well, this is the only of the new Werebears I've got because I had all the rest, as you know, from the original toy line. Now, Growler was released in the original line, but he came a little bit later, and he was different to these Werebears. He was in a standing position and he was electronic. He'd press a badge on his chest and he growled, and I don't know if his eyes lit up. But I never really liked him because he didn't fit in aesthetically with the other Werebears, because he was in this standing position, he was bigger. It just didn't work for me. But this one here, because he's now the same sort of design, I like him a lot more. But with these new Werebears, it's the same gimmick, they turn into a normal teddy, but also you press the button on the paw, and in here that's quite a loud howl as well as the eyes lighting up. Now you can't change the batteries, which is a shame, so once it's worn out, you know, the howling's gone forever, which is kind of a shame. But this only cost me £5 brand new, which is, I mean, I'm no cuddly toy connoisseur. These are the only cuddly toys I collect. Well, I've got some sooty puppets as well. But I don't know how much normal teddy bears cost. But I imagine in Toys R Us, you're talking £10 for a teddy bear this sort of size, let alone with electronics. And yet it's only £5. The only problem is that they only stock them in farm food shops. They're not in Toys R Us or Toy Masters or any others. They're in farm food shops, which is like a frozen food supermarket, kind of a slightly upper class version of Iceland. Now, of all the places to stock them, this seems like the oddest choice. I would never have thought to look in farm foods for a cuddly toy, but for whatever reason, they've chosen farm foods as their one outlet for them. Now, hopefully it's just testing the waters and they'll bring them back to full retail soon, because I would love to get the Terror-Teds. Now, in the original line, after the Werebears, their enemies came out who were called the Terror-Teds. Now, I don't have any of the Terror-Teds because they're really rare. And I've only ever seen one on eBay, and that was somewhere between £50 and £80 it went for. I can't remember now, but ridiculously expensive. I don't really want to pay that for a cuddly toy, even though I would love to have the Terror-Teds. But this is a picture of the Terror-Teds anyway, from the old Werebear comic. They didn't turn into normal teddy bears. But there was one that looked a bit like a kind of Quasimodo, one that looked a bit like a Frankenstein's monster, one that looked slightly devilish. And I'm hoping that if the new Werebears toy line's successful, they'll bring out the Terror-Teds, because I really want some Terror-Teds in my collection. I've always wanted the Terror-Teds. So I thought maybe this video would help to advertise the brand, get awareness out there, hopefully it'll sell a bit better. Now, the story behind the Werebears in the comics, there were 7 comics released. That's the first issue there. I've got 6 out of 7 issues of it. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 7, but for some reason I missed issue 6. But the story in there was that there was this guy called Egon Baconburger, who was a toy maker, and he made these teddy bears. But he had a curse put on his family that made him turn into a werewolf, and on the night that he first turns into a werewolf is the night he created these teddy bears, and the curse somehow went into his teddy bears as well, and they all became werebears. And there was this evil witch who was kind of his enemy, and she created the Terror-Teds to kill the werebears, and so that's why the Baron made Growler to back up the werebears who were being hunted by the Terror-Teds. And all the original toys came with a cassette tape, which pretty much had the same story as the comics on. I was never that keen on the cassette tapes. I just didn't like the voices used. They all sounded kind of whiny, and it just didn't work for me. But the Baron also had a cousin who owned a toy shop in London, and the Baron sent the Werebears off to live with him for a while and all this. But anyway, it's most people don't. It doesn't seem as if it's got that much of a fan base. It's not that well known a toy line. It did quite well. Universal Studios were actually interested in making a Werebears film at one point. I guess because Gremlins had been so popular, and then there was Critters, which was kind of a rip-off of Gremlins, and I think they just wanted ideas like that. And they were in talks to make a Werebears film, but around about the same time, Hornby, a toy company that makes toy trains mostly in the UK, got hold of the rights to Werebears, and they kind of discontinued the line, and it just fizzled out, unfortunately. But also available at the minute is this Werebears t-shirt. I don't know if you can see that on cam there, that I'm sporting. It's from truffleshuffle.com. It's quite a cool looking t-shirt. I always like that picture. It's the same picture as was on the front cover of the first issue. Now, Truffle Shuffle is not cheap. This was like, with postage and packaging, this was £23, and I don't ever pay more than a tenner for a t-shirt. Like, any more than £10 really gets my go. I'm not t-shirt. It's only a thin bit of material, but because I couldn't find the Werebears t-shirts anywhere else, and because I wanted to kind of support the brand and advertise it. But you know, they should be paying me to wear this, because I'm advertising the brand for them. But I don't think they're going to go with that. But to be fair, I got my friend to buy it for me for my birthday, so it was her money, not mine. But still, £23 for a t-shirt? I think women don't mind paying that sort of money for t-shirts, do they say? Anyway, hopefully you found this interesting. This is a really cool toy line. They're actually quite hard to find on eBay now. But maybe this new line will start showing up a bit. I've seen a few of these newer ones on there for £5, brand new from Farm Food. I mean, I think that's great value for a great cuddly toy for kids. Anyway, I hope you've found this informative on the Werebears and enjoyed it, and until next time.